Hello. I was going to say good morning and good evening, but I'm not sure what time you'll be seeing this. But this is Steve Prelgovisk, missionary to Puerto Rico with Continental Baptist Missions. I thought this week I would give you a video update from the mission field instead of a written one. I'm aware a lot of churches have missionary conferences, and I've seen them try to do Skype interviews with people from the field. And I've seen those videos not, for some reason or another, a connection was lost and maybe came on right at the end. And so I thought I'd do this that way that you guys can download it and watch it whenever you want. We'll be posting it on YouTube for viewing there. So you can use it at any time you'd like to get this update or review the update that we gave. Today I have with us interviewing Roque Becerra. Roque Becerra, could you present yourself to our fine people here?
Oh, sure thing, Steve. My name is Roque Becerra. As Steve was saying, I am the son of Pastor Roque Becerra. I've been in the ministry working in the church, Iglesia Bautista de Benecer. And I met Steve quite a while ago, actually, maybe like 10 years, maybe.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it?
It's been a while, yeah. Actually, the way that I met him was a very interesting way. We were in an activity that was planned out by the Colegio Universitario Bautista.
And how do you say that in English?
That we Baptist. Oh,
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico Baptist College. There we go. Puerto Rico Baptist College.
Puerto Rico Baptist College. That's right.
Yeah. Or COOP for small.
Yeah. It's a different name in Spanish. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. But so we met through there. We met through the college, and one of the things that was very curious is that we met while we were talking about chess, because it was very interesting. I just had a small talk. We were after like a service because they were having these conferences. And I remember I started talking to Steve, and we talked a little bit about the Bible, and then we talked a little bit about chess as well. And then we started talking about it, and we became more close after that. Mm-hmm. Now our story starts taking a very interesting turn, because after a few more years, we were doing a ministry in our church, and the ministry was directed at children and youth. And one of the interesting parts about it is that at that time, thanks to the Lord, we were having a big movement of youth coming to our church. And during that time, Steve and his wife, they were planning on trying to get their own kids, trying to get them more involved in more youth. And they started taking them to our church in the evenings.
Yeah, let me explain a little bit about that. As a church planning missionary, we had a church that we were starting in the little town of Comarillo. But when you're starting a church, when it's just your family and just a few other members, there's no youth group, just your kids, you know. And so our daughters were growing up, they were homeschooled. So we felt like we needed to find a way for them to have friends, you know, friends. If they're going to be at home and in our church, where were they going to make friends, you know? And there weren't any little girls that lived on our street. So we thought, you know, it'd be good and for the evening service to go to a church of like faith and practice, and that had a good youth group. And that way for the Sunday evening, since our church at that time or sometimes does not have evening service, that we would take advantage of that. And it turned out pretty well. We got to know you guys right away, right? Okay, continue with the story. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but just to clarify that.
And actually, I think it's very important as well. Like for us in our independent Baptist churches, I think it's a very good idea when you have the chance of actually getting people involved from other churches, so we can fraternize and get to meet new people. We also have the opportunity of getting to meet new talent, which is something that's very important.
Hey, well, what came about because of those youth meetings?
Yeah, so
something happened, right?
Oh, there's a big story after that. So after they got into our church and they started to gather with the kids and all the youth that we had, one of his daughters, which was Kristen met my brother Daniel, and at first they were all normal. You know, we were having normal
Mm-hmm.
conversations, and they were getting closer as friends. And as the time progressed, of course, something happened between them, and I think that the Lord was guiding them into that direction, and
Mm-hmm.
they started falling in love with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, they decided to go to the States. And not long after they studied over at Pensacola College,
Mm-hmm.
they started to get together, and after that, they married. And
Yep. Yeah.
look at us now. Now we're
That's
part
right.
family.
Pensacola Christian College is a great school. All four of our daughters went there,
Mhm.
and they all got married. And like, okay, you know what that is? Tell me what that sound is there. Okay,
So,
see the
so
sound? That's the governor telling us it's time to rush to our cars and go home because there's a curfew and you have to
exactly.
be in. You know these days what's happening, right? So
Yep,
you saw it
definitely.
live. You saw it live right here.
It
A
was a
live
COVID-19 warning.
yeah, live recording. Okay, but so anyway, our four daughters went. Sarah and Kristen, our twin daughters, went,
Mhm.
and Kristen married your brother. They
Mhm.
graduated first, right? I think they got their
Yes.
4-year degree. They graduated. They got married. And then Kristen got a job at the Puerto Rican, excuse me, the Pensacola Christian School,
Mhm.
being a videographer and editing their online or whatever the recorded videos for their
Yeah, it's
homeschool
very
people
interesting.
or extension. And your brother, he works there too, right? On
Yeah.
campus at
He
Pensacola Christian.
yes, he does.
And what does he do?
He actually works as he works with the Abeka book company that they
Mm-hmm.
have, and he actually works with the editing of the books and all that stuff. So he works in graphic design, which is what he majored in.
Okay. And you're an artist too yourself, right?
Yeah, as well.
Now, you talk about us playing chess
Yeah.
in an activity at Puerto Rico Baptist College, but you left out
Mhm.
something. You were a student there, right?
I was a student there as
And
well.
I
Yeah,
was a teacher there.
that's true.
I didn't just go there to play chess, by the way,
No.
which I like a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I was always trying to get a game. But
Mhm.
what class did I have or what class did you have with me?
Okay. At the time when I was there, I was taking education,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Christian
started
education,
taking
yeah.
Christian education. I started taking sociology with Pastor Steve over there.
Mm-hmm.
It was very educational, and especially because he was giving it a Christian perspective, which is something that we need. And
Mm-hmm.
and in the college, they did that very well. They started teaching many different topics, but from a Christian perspective, which is what we need that we don't get in like normal secular universities.
Yeah, and it sounds odd that here I am. I got my master's degree in biblical studies, and why am I giving a class at a Bible college in sociology? Well, I give a lot of classes there. Basically, we divide up the classes between the professors, and a lot of professors there, the local Puerto Ricans, can teach Bible classes in Spanish. But there's not a lot with the educational background deep enough to teach like science and in other classes that you were studying Christian education, right?
Mm,
And
yes,
so you guys need to know psychology, chemistry, physics, biology, all the
a little
sciences.
bit of
And,
everything.
and so somehow, even though I teach New Testament Greek, I
Mhm.
teach, the other classes there, helping prepare pastors for the future ministry, missionaries to Latin American countries, but also Christian teachers and Christian educators like yourself that we're studying there. And so, so I have fond memories of that class. Fond memories of teaching sociology. And we had a really good group that year. And a lot of those
Mhm.
guys ended up in the ministry and are pastors today, right? A number of them. Well,
Mhm.
and now, what are you doing now that you've graduated? And what are you doing in your church right now?
Okay. Right now, within my church, I am usually directing the music in the church. So directing, and as well, I give classes in Sunday school to all the
Mm-hmm.
students. And right now, in this situation with the COVID-19 and everything, I've been trying to focus also on helping with the services, setting up the camera, setting up the system so that we could actually portray it through Facebook Live.
So
So,
you're helping the older generation, i.e., your dad, right?
amen.
Sorry, Pastor Becerra. I got to be careful. We're in-laws now, but your son knows a lot about technology, so that's a good thing, right? Okay, so and you're helping me here interviewing. I teach computer science at times, so I'm a little further along than some on the technology part of it. But we all have things we can learn, right? And so, all right, so you're helping in your church, and you do song leading too, right?
So I'm leading.
Is that you have to wear a mask when you're doing that currently, right?
Currently, I have to use a mask to part of it, but when I start singing, I don't have to use it there because we have a very long distance in the pulpit, so we can do it there. But usually when I just move around, significant distance, yeah.
There you go. All righty. Let's see. I'm just a little notes here. Does your church have any current blessings, needs, or things that you'd like to talk about?
Right, of course. There's always needs in various areas. Now with the whole crisis as it's happening, more equipment to prepare better materials for classes. Also materials for everything that has to do with masks or equipment for being able to receive all the people that are coming to the church. It is very difficult now with this situation because we have to follow certain protocols. But yeah, we have needs in that area. Also long-term needs that we might need in the church is better equipment that has to do with like more technology, more cameras, better systems so that we can get working on putting those services out there.
Like if you're watching this, you're watching two guys with laptops. Okay, we don't have any tripods and cameras, and someone gave me a tithe on their unemployment check to buy a little microphone here, and so that was a blessing, you know. So they sent me $120 to buy upgrade the microphone, so I don't have to speak into the laptop mic, you know. So that was, and I only spent 69 of it, so you know.
There you go.
There's some money left over. Maybe I could get a little tripod or something. Anyway, we're trying to be economical pastors here and missionaries. Well, brother, okay. Well, your church is a blessing and has been a blessing, and your father has been a blessing, and he also teaches at the Bible college, or has taught. And I believe he has a master's degree in counseling, and he is some kind of licensed counselor as well. So he's got the, you know, he's great. He's got a, what do you call that? Good resume going on there, and he helps a lot. He helps a lot here in the island. Yeah. So it's a pleasure to work with him. Now we have one more thing in common. My daughter Kristen and your brother Danny. What happened recently? Within, say, a year ago.
Okay, so my brother and Kristen. Well, after being married. We got to put two and two together, right?
Yeah.
So recently they had a daughter, and man, she's beautiful.
So I'm a grandfather again, and I have other grandchildren, but this is our first grandchild with Kristen, and that makes me a grandfather, but makes you an uncle for the first time now, and it makes your dad, Pastor Becerra, my in-law, and your mom. Let's not forget Naomi. And Naomi, she's a nurse, right? Registered nurse?
Yes, she's a registered nurse, but on top of that, she's also in charge of the nursing program within the Caribbean University.
And she teaches nursing. So she teaches nurses how to nurse.
Yeah.
So, you know, so that's pretty good. And she homeschooled you guys, is that correct?
Yes, she did. She homeschooled us, and she was there for many years with us.
How is it that you speak English so well?
One of the things, definitely teaching on my mom, the materials that she uses, all of it together at the same time. And also because me and my brother, we had a love for the English tongue. So we started studying more the culture and everything behind it. And we started learning it faster that way once we started falling in love with it.
You learned English in Puerto Rico then, right?
Yeah. Yes.
At your house.
At my house.
So your mom's a pretty good teacher. It's not like you have a thick accent. You speak very well, brother. And did your mom speak English to you at home? Yeah.
Once in a while, we banter a little bit in English and Spanish.
Okay.
We have that combination going on.
Okay. Well, it's a blessing to. I do speak to you in Spanish, but it's to me speaking English is like like after you wear weights for a while and you take them off and you feel so much lighter.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm having that experience right now with you.
Oh, and Steve,
You know, it's a lot easier. Yeah, go ahead.
and Steve, I have a question for you. Also, since you mentioned the needs of my church,
Mm-hmm.
what sort of needs do you have as well for your church?
Well, we have a little church. You're missionaries. When you get a church big enough to be on its own, you go someplace else and start again, right? And so our churches tend to be little and very small, and we grow slowly. But right now we're in our latest church plant is in a small town of Colmarillo, a town of about 4,000 people, pretty small town, and we have a little storefront, and it's I don't know how to. It's kind of like the size of a living room in the U.S., and we could put maybe 20 people in there, 24 people in there, kind of crowded together. But guess what? You're not allowed to crowd them together anymore, are you? You got to keep them 6 feet apart. So that's going to be a real challenge when you have a small room. You can't have like the pastor in 6 feet, and then a person in another 6 feet. You're out in the parking lot, just about, and 6 feet from there, you're in the street. So that's going to be a challenge for us. But we would like a place of our own, and we've been able to we're blessed to have about $30,000 in the bank saved towards a place of our own. Our church members don't want to go in debt. We spoke about getting a loan and raising support to pay off the loan on a monthly basis, but they really have their heart set on saving the money and to get for the whole purchase. And right now it's a buyer's market. Right now it's a buyer's market because of you might remember hurricane. What was the last hurricane, brother? The big hurricane that tore off our roofs and everything.
It's been almost 2 years, right?
Yeah, but Maria, right? Hurricane Maria. Yeah, and there's still houses with blue tarps on them, government.
Yeah, the damage
and so
is still
it's so people are still reeling from that. A lot of people left the island, and so it's a buyer's market for houses right now. If you want to sell your house, sorry, you're gonna get a lot less for it. But if you're buying one and you have the funds, it's a blessing. And so we have right now we're looking at a really nice house in a community that is easily converted into a let's say a moderate sized church building for $100,000 and that would buy about a postage stamp size lot in a lot of places we know, especially in California right now, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, there's even a Jehovah Witness Kingdom Hall for sale in our town for about 140, and but it's got like parking for 40 some people. It's huge, but I think it might be a little bit of a white elephant if we could get that. So. I feel a little more comfortable with the midsize. But other than that, that's kind of a big thing that we need. So we got 30,000, so just 70,000 left. It sounds like a lot, but that could be just $20 a week for a year. That's 1,000 plus. All you need is 70 people to do that, right? And then we got it in a year. But anyway, if somebody feels led to help us with that, well, that's our big goal we're looking for. But a smaller needs, a mid-sized need, I'd like to be able to set up a camera on a tripod and to be able to do some live streaming to improve what we're doing here, like you say. I like my microphone that I've got, but we could have some improvements here. And let's see, smaller things. Well, really the biggest thing we need is prayer. If you guys could remember some prayer. And also, I think I would like some people out there to begin praying. And maybe the Lord wants me to help in Puerto Rico. Maybe I could go down there, maybe for a week, maybe for 2 weeks. Maybe I could go to Puerto Rico Baptist College, especially if you're bilingual and you want to come down here and take a class or take a semester. And by the way, our units it's a very, very small school, but the units are transferable to Bob Jones University. And they're a lot cheaper than Bob Jones University prices. So some people have gone 4 years here and then transferred and got their master's degree from Bob Jones Seminary. So that's a possibility. Anyway, so come down here, experience the mission field, and pray maybe you could stay and help us for a short time or an extended time. And even if you're just going to come down here for fun, well, missionaries need to have fun too. So if you're down here on a cruise or on vacation, give us a call and we can show you some of the tour sites or eat a nice meal with you at a restaurant here someplace, and enjoy some fellowship. We miss the fellowship. We miss the news. We miss the jokes. We miss having a good time with, people of like faith fellowship. And it's like we call it in Puerto Rico, in la misma onda, when you're the same wavelength as other people. You really enjoy being around them. So especially our supporters and our friends and family. So come on down here and help us. And any last words you'd like to share, brother, before we close off here?
I think it's definitely a great opportunity if anybody is able to help in any way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of necessity in the mission field here in Puerto Rico, and even the churches. Like, if there's anything that could be done to send help over here, it would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, one thing people don't realize, Puerto Rico is part of the United States. We got over 3 million people here, and a lot of them move back and forth to the States all the time. And when you go door to door, I remember going door to door in California, knocking on doors, and people didn't want to let you in. People didn't want to let you in, like, especially if they were Hispanic, maybe they thought you were from, like, a guy, American with a tie, he's probably from immigration, so, and then you ask people their name and they don't want to tell you their real name. And so it's really hard to have what we call penetrate a community, right? And get something started. But when you're a Puerto Rican that we win to the Lord here, they're opening the doors here. I go visit 3 houses and I say, can I come in? I have the Word of God. I say, I got the Word of God. I want to open it up, read you a verse and pray with you. Could I do that? And they go, yeah, why not? Who would not want a holy man come into your house and bless your house? The attitude here is it's a lot more open. And then they're not hiding from anybody. It's not they're hiding from the law here. We're on their turf. They're not on our turf. And so we have a lot better reception than in the States. And then the Puerto Ricans go to the U.S. and they invite their friends, and they're in the Latin communities, and they have a lot more connection with the people there. And, so there's these centers, that's Latino centers, are benefited from what we're doing here in Puerto Rico. And people are coming to Christ, and churches are being started, and people are being trained here that are helping. The young man, a college student that was living with us just this last month from Bogota, Colombia, he's in North Carolina right now serving at a church. And so I just took him to the airport last week. So somebody's benefiting from what we're doing in the States right now. Anyway, brother, thanks a lot. And God bless those of you who are watching. And remember, Puerto Rico, pray for Puerto Rico, because we in Puerto Rico are praying for you. Well, God bless, and have a great day, what's left of it. God bless, brother.